I just thought that's a really good ball game. I mean, there's some really good pitching, and we put together one good inning, and had a lot of runners out there and couldn't get the big hit. Give A&M's pitching staff credit; they worked out of some jams and brought a lot of different looks, mostly lefty looks, but they were different. And we made a really really good play. Obviously, I didn't; they did. In the eighth inning when Hunter Grimes made an incredible throw to the plate, swung that momentum right back into our dugout. Callie goes down 1-2 in the count, fights off some pitches, ends up drawing a walk, and then high fastball, swing and miss, breaking ball, home run. We got a 2-run lead, and Smith had just enough to finish him off there in the ninth. I mean, we've been struggling. We've had a lot of injuries. Might add another injury tonight. I don't know yet, but it's good to get a win. It's good to get a win in league.
Dave, on the play by Grimes, just what was your perspective on that? It looked like he had to run quite a ways just to make the catch too.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like he got a really good read on the ball, had a lot of momentum, moving towards the plate. He kind of got around the ball a little bit, and he used his former infield skills there to get rid of that ball really fast. And he kind of short arm darted it, made a perfect throw, played the angle a little bit, and the ball hit the grass and shot to the catcher. And great play, great tag. Felt like Roland, he also plays first base, and he showed a little bit of that right there. He just popped that tag down. It was great.
You mentioned you might have another injury. Can you tell us who that might be?
Well, we were Carter, he's been sore, and he's sore again. So it's probably not a good sign.
Led to maybe the decision to go to Hagen when you
We
did?
were going to go to Hagen anyway because we didn't like what we were seeing out there. It wasn't the normal stuff.
Coach, it seemed like Holland's velo was down a little bit and he just wasn't as sharp.
It was down.
Yeah, I was just wondering what you saw from his outing and just what you make of what you saw.
Velocity was down. Wasn't super sharp. They were on him pretty good. We were dodging bullets there for a little bit, and then, they got us with the 3-run homer. Really don't know what to say. Just that, he's been better. And, I'll leave it at that. He's not having any issues with his arm or anything, though.
Griffin had a few hits for you, but him and Stovall had the 2 big swings that provided 6 of the runs, I believe. Just what you see on both of those plays?
Well, on Stovall's, obviously that was huge. We'd already scored 1, and the hitter before him didn't get a run in, and that was disappointing. So then it was up to him with 2 outs. And it wasn't just about making contact then. He had to get a hit, or they had to make an error or walk or whatever. And, he was a 1-0 count. He swung the ball in the dirt. You're kind of thinking, wow, left on left. And he fought his way back into the count. I think he fought off a 3-2 pitch and then got him I think it was a 3-2 slider. The first one was a fastball, and that was a slider. And I mean, he just got extended on it and popped it up there on the roof. Just a really good job of staying on the ball, left on left. And then obviously with Jace's swing, he hits lefties just as good as he hits righties. If you look at the numbers, we don't really care if it's right or left with him. I mean, he's hitting 360, 370 against lefties, I think. And, he guessed on the first pitch that he was going to get him a fastball, and it was just a little bit too high to hit, but he fouled it off. He was on it. And then super job hitting a breaking ball. Maybe he felt like he was going to get it, or he just saw it, but he didn't hit it on the sweet spot, but he hit it solid. And, we knew it was gone when it left the bat.
In the middle innings there, as the lead slipped away and you started leaving a whole bunch of guys on base, what was the mood like in the dugout?
Well, we weren't having wine and cheese. I can tell you that. It wasn't very fun. So it was guys talking to each other about staying positive. The coaches were saying, you got to stay positive. I just kept mentioning that the game, now we have a 4-inning game. We need to win it. Then we have a 3-inning game, outscore them the last 3. And then, I didn't say much after that. I mean, when we got out of that bases loaded jam, or second and third and 1 out, and we had the same situation. We didn't score, and Hagen did a tremendous job there, and they didn't score. And, yeah, I think that was the 7th, maybe. I don't know what it was. The game's kind of all blurry to me right now. So, but it was just some really good pitching by both sides there. For the most part, we had a couple of big swings, and the last one ended up winning the game for us.
You know who your starter is going to be tomorrow?
Not exactly. Yeah.
Hey, Dave, Smith, yeah, the Aggies got the runner to third, I guess, was in the 7th with no outs, and then Hagen was able to keep him there. Just what do you think of the job he did there and just his overall performance?
Well, Hagen has a lot of experience at the end of games. He's come in some tough situations and finished games. He's been a starter or reliever. I mean, he knows how to wiggle out of it, and he made some really good pitches. Got a strikeout and a pop up, and I don't know what else. And you know, had a great play by another, by our left fielder. I mean, there was a couple innings there that it was a little stressful, and he has a knack for finishing things up.
I think one of the outs was a shallow fly to Diggs, and they didn't challenge his arm.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I mean, it wasn't too far out there, and his face in home plate, I think that would have been, if he doesn't throw it away, I think he'd have been out by a lot.
Peyton Slam, I think he was ahead 3-1. They threw a pitch, and Peyton reacted like he thought it was a ball. He was getting ready to head to first base, had to come back, but then ends up being a grand slam. So I guess that's one of those instances where you're glad he didn't take a walk.
I don't remember exactly. All I know is he hit one out of the park and we scored 4 runs. So that's all I got.
And then when you had a rough weekend, you had Tuesday night, didn't go your way. How big to stop the bleeding? And you had a 3-5-0 lead and you lose that, but then you find a way to win. I mean, how big a win was this?
It was a big win for us. I mean, you look at the lineup, there's a lot of names people don't recognize too much. They haven't played a lot, and they played good. They played just good enough. And but it was a big win for us. Just, it's hard losing in league. It's hard losing, the way we lost in game 3 over there with a 4-run lead, didn't get an out, and they beat us. And tonight to have it kind of flip and go our way, it was big for our team.
When the Grimes' first SEC start, he makes a play like that with the game on the line. I mean, what does that maybe say about him?
Well, I think the moment wasn't too big for him, and he knew before the ball was pitched exactly what he was going to do with it. And I'm sure the good defenders are thinking about it, and they're thinking, if they hit it to me, this is what I'm going to do. And there it was. He came firing in, momentum, caught it, released it as quick as you can. I mean, that's about as good as it gets. Throw was about as nice as it could be. And you could go all year and you won't see a play like that.
Dave, with so many guys in and out of the lineup, I mean, when you get ready to make out the lineup every day, how are you trying to get that fit, right? Trying to get guys in the right spot. What's your process?
Just trying to, back one hitter up with another, try not to put 3 lefts together when they're starting a lefty. I mean, that's kind of what went on today. If you got your starters, the guys that have been playing there, we got a switch hitter out, so it doesn't really matter, and leadoff guy, and then, a right-handed power guy that usually hits 3 or 4, and take those 2 guys out. You have to manipulate it a little bit. I mean, I don't sit in my office and do it all by myself. I'll write it up, then I'll call the coaches in, and we'll go through it a little bit and see what they think. And, I want to get some feedback, and, it was a team effort. The guys we got to try to put them in the right position in the order, and hopefully they get an opportunity to drive in a run and they do it.
2 homers off Hunter today, a couple of other hard hit balls. Just where do you kind of assess where he's at this point of the season as your Friday night guy?
Well, I'm not worried about his homers, and I'm not worried about hard hit balls. I'm just worried about him throwing strikes and pitching, and I don't really want to assess where he is right now in the season, to be honest with you.
Aside from the big play that Grimes had, how would you assess his defense overall tonight?
How do I feel like our defense was overall?
Hunter's defense in
thought
particular.
it was good. He missed, he saw the lefty slash one, and he started running in early in the game with the bases loaded. I think it was Moss that hit it with 2 outs. And right when it was hit, we were all like, yeah. And then we're like, uh-oh, because he's running in. But then he made himself have to make a great play over his shoulder, over his head. And that was a difficult catch. I didn't know if he was going to make it, but I think everything else he did a great job.
You mentioned Holland's velo being down. Do you think maybe getting an extra day, pitching on Friday next week may help him a little bit? Could it be a fatigue thing?
Yeah,
or-
I mean, just to give him rest, give his body rest, his legs rest. It all adds up, you know. From the outside looking in, you just see a game being played sometimes, but you guys don't. But maybe the average fan does. But there's a lot going on. There's guys that are banged up. There's guys that are sick. They're getting ready for finals. There's a lot going on, and you know, so you an extra day can be big, and hopefully it'll help him for next week.
Roland and Bolton have kind of struggled offensively this year, but they both, I think, combined reach base like 7 times today. What do you think about the bottom of your order today?
I thought they did a great job of seeing some pitches. You know, Bolton chopped that 3-2 pitch in the 4-3-4 hole and got an infield hit. And I thought Moss made a great play. I thought it was going to get by him. And, you know, obviously that flipped the order up, and, you know, and that was with the 1 out. Then I think Kendall made the second, then we hit they hit the grand slam. But I thought Roland took some good hacks. He smoked that ball there in the 8th. You know, he just hit it the wrong part of the field. If he pulls it a little bit, it might get out of the park or for sure get a double on it. But I thought the end did a nice job. All right.